Greetings. I'm the cat. Welcome to the Midnight Society. And along with the Nat,
What's
we
up,
have
everybody?
special.
I don't know why I still have that name. It's stuck.
I
It's
don't
stuck.
know.
That's why.
Well, we have three. We have the cat, the Nat, and the bat.
Yeah, nothing else rhymes with cat and bat, and that's when I threw out Nat. Then it's been haunting me ever since.
Yeah. You are the one that called yourself the Nat. So
Yeah,
I mean,
because there were a lack of options. I mean, of other names of animals.
Well,
I don't know. Yak came to mind. I mean, but that's not as close. But a yak. I don't want to be a yak.
Yeah, the yak, the Yeti.
That don't rhyme though, but I like that better.
We last time the Midnight Society got together, we were joined by Eric, and we had our interview with Adam Marcus. This month, we decided to do the Midnight Society and do something we've already done a couple of times, and that is we're going to take a look at an A24 film. Now, everybody knows how much I love A24. Not as much as Monty, but
I'm
we
also
all
a
love
big A24 fan.
Yeah, we all like our art A24's. I tell you what, here's something I want to do. Why don't you guys go around, say hi, and then tell us your favorite A24 film?
Ooh.
Yes, once again, it is me, the horror miser, Monty G. I'm pretty sure everyone knows my favorite A24 film is The Witch or The Witch.
Oh. For a minute there, you had me going. I thought, oh, he's going to do it. He's going to drop it on me. He's going to drop it on me. But I too love The Witch.
Never like that.
Would you
film.
like to live it deliciously?
I'm still looking for a Black Phillip Funko Pop. What about you, JT? I mean, you're a man of many movies.
I don't know. I mean, because like when it comes to production companies, like I do like a lot of A24 films, but I don't look at them like A24 movies unless it's like a production company like Full Moon or like Trauma, like where it defines the movies that they make. You know what I mean? Like Full Moon, you know exactly what type of movie you're getting. Trauma, Asylum, you know the films that you're getting there. A24 is a lot more. There's more of a spectrum there because you can have a movie like Tusk, and then you can have a movie like Pearl and X,
Right.
those films. So I'd probably say Pearl actually if I had to, like on the spot, think of one. It would probably be that because that film's a masterpiece for me. And X.
And we're also joined by the Wonder Twins. Kiernan. I know it's double feature, but now it's the Wonder Twins have just stuck with me now. You go Four of an Ice Pandora.
The Wonder Twins is better than the Nat, so be happy it's something stuck with me that's fun.
Yeah, we like that. We love it, Patrick.
Oh yes, I'll take it. I don't know, Mika. I'll go first, I guess.
Okay.
So Kira, hi. Double feature. A24 is very hard to honestly narrow down to a favorite. And again, I love the fact that they highlight both horror and drama very well. So I think if I had to choose, well, you know what? I'm gonna really quickly do my top three. Don't judge me, you guys. Green Room, Hereditary, and Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Oh yeah, Kira. Oh Kira, yeah, that's
Great
good.
movies.
Yeah. I think for mine, yeah, it's hard to narrow it down, but I would probably say for I have two. One isn't horror, and that one is Waves. Waves is a great movie no one ever talks about. So for non-horror, I would say Waves. And maybe for horror, I would probably say the same as Monty, probably The Witch. I really enjoy. So ones I really enjoy. I don't really have a favorite because I like so many, but I'll go with those two.
I mean, they've released so many movies and so many good movies. And just how long has A24 been around? Since the early 2010s, late 2000s, something like that, right? Like that's because I know Tusk was early on for them. That was 2010, 2011. So sometime around there, they've put out a lot of movies.
They did.
Yeah.
I think that it's safe to say like there's the pre, the pre-breakout, everybody was talking about A24, and then there was the movies that nobody knew who A24 was at all.
Oh
And
yeah,
the
initially, yeah.
movie that we're talking about tonight, the Blackcoat's Daughter, fell into nobody knew this movie at all when it came out. Nobody knew. It did less than $40,000 at the box office. So any slappy that says I was all over that, yeah, we're gonna say no to that. It didn't do very well. But then again, a lot of the A24 films didn't do that well either because they were still establishing the footprint. But some of the very best movies, including a movie called Remember, which is one of the best movies I've ever seen.
Oh, I haven't seen that yet.
And I actually reviewed. My two first films for A24 and IFC Midnight, I reviewed them back to back, way before it was a thing. Before each company really blew up,
Yeah.
and so but after the Witch came out, then everybody discovered A24. Everybody was all over it, all the press and everything else because
Yeah,
of the
it
Witch.
was with that film. Then Hereditary just exploded
Hereditary.
even further.
Hereditary exploded.
Yeah, that really made it take off.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
rightfully
absolutely.
so, because I think that movie's a masterpiece. I know a lot of people
You
think it's
see?
overrated, including somebody up here doesn't like it at all.
Oh.
Man, the gnat is looking for he's buzzing.
Do gnats buzz? Like, yeah, they do. Not like a bee, not with a cool, threatening.
Well, it's funny too. I was actually reading about Eddington's, the return for Eddington's today, and there's then how Ari Aster, like he stays in horror, he does well, but whenever he ventures out of horror, his movies just don't do very well. And I didn't know this. I thought both these movies did much more than what they did. I didn't know Hereditary had did less than $100 million. It did 87.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I didn't know that. I thought it was more.
It
than
wasn't.
that.
Nah, it wasn't like mega huge. I mean,
Yeah.
if you look at like Megan, the first movie, that was like $180 million. It was like, yeah, wasn't close to that, but it was very, very good for that type of movie, the budget.
I feel like A24 films are I think they're quite unique in the sense that I never think in them in terms of being like blockbuster smashes by any means, but I think that if you like in unique perspectives and if you're looking for something regardless of the genre, they do a really good job in terms of like what they put out, in my opinion. So I think if you're going to the theater, you're going overall for the storytelling and the experience rather than this is going to be this at least for me, a blockbuster gem. And more people are finding it usually as time has passed, honestly, with these films in mind. At least for me, I feel like a lot of people, it doesn't catch on. It takes some time, quite a bit of time before it gathers a following.
That's a great point, actually, because it does. Now you interrupted me, Pat. Now I forgot what I was going to say. Oh no, yeah, that it does. They do a good job of picking the right movies to put out. That, like you said, don't fall into like the mainstream like format that you usually get with movies nowadays. They're usually
definitely Blood is Afraid does not fall into the typical format.
Yeah,
Blood is Afraid.
Oh God. You see, that's what I mean. And I remember when that movie came out, and it's like this happens all the time. I remember when the Green Knight came out, everybody and their mom was riding that pony, saying, "Oh, the Green Knight this and Green Knight out." First weekend came, and nobody said nothing because nobody went. They all talked about it, but nobody actually went. And the following week, nobody was talking about it. All that pre-hype, it's almost like, just because they flashed the A24 sign on it doesn't mean it's going to be a home run. More often than not, it's going to be like a double. It's going to hit a little bit, but not everyone's going to come. Not every movie they put out is going to be really, really good. Or if they are really good, they don't get the love. Red Rocket,
or it gets very high expectations, like way too big expectations, and it doesn't hit the mark.
Hereditary.
Yeah, there's only like I think ones that actually stood out for me more recently, and thankfully, rightfully so, they got the Oscar buzz they deserved. Was Moonlight is a really good example of a film that wasn't made for much money, but like the impact of that film and to see it go through the Golden Globes and Oscar stage, that's a prime example of one that didn't have a good budget. A lot of people didn't see it in theaters, but then it became massively huge and culturally impactful, I must say, once it got the buzz from the Globes and all the Oscars.
Yeah, I mean, but it's one of those movies like it came out, it got some buzz, and then after that, then now it's just like it's sort of like. It's almost like they don't have the staying power. Like the only
a lot of
really
people don't talk about it or haven't seen it. And even when I bring up Moonlight now, people are like, "Oh, I never heard of that." And I'm like, "Oh, geez."
Right. Other than really truly, other than Vitch and Hereditary, not really many of their movies stick. You know, like they just don't.
Especially
I mean,
nowadays. I think earlier on they were a lot more hit than miss.
Maybe they're still hitting. I mean, you know, I'm very I mean, you know,
different ratio than earlier on.
Right. I mean, if you look at the release point, you know, we look at the movies that we talked about, like Saint Maud, and we talked about The Monster. I mean, you know, look at Adam Sandler got a lot of hype because he did Uncut Gems. You know, of course, you know, they went back to which really they're really well known for their horror too. You know, they did Talk to Me, and then they did take, you know, Bring Her Back. I mean, if they stay within certain areas, they do well. But it seems like once they try to get out of that, you know, they struggle a little bit.
I think Patrick too. You're just seeing that too with a lot of indie films. So a lot of films, especially the way people are viewing movies now differently. A lot of people are really going to the movie theaters for these blockbusters. A lot of people aren't really going for the indie films. Usually genres like horror, you see they do still do pretty well at the box office. So I think it might even just be a genre thing. A lot of people aren't really putting an investment to go see dramas or these indie films, and I think that's where you kind of seeing the fall off.
Yeah, Mika, another point to hold is theater, picking them up in the theater. Sometimes most of these films don't have a wide theater release.
Oh, that's true.
So when I think about us in Massachusetts, you have to travel usually to Boston to go see a film. And sometimes it's not playing at all in the state, right? The closest might be New York City. So your only access point to some films are when they're streaming and actually released and you can rent it. And so I think that most of these films don't get widely distributed. So it's almost like you're cutting out just that opportunity for people to see it.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't think about
that.
That was yeah, I agree with that 100%. And that's actually been ISC's problem. They had that problem as well. I mean, they would basically show their movies in the ISC center, and you know, a lot of times that would be their box office revenue. And a lot of times you go look at all the ISC movies and you'll see like their box office was like with the Blackcoat's Daughter, it was like next to nothing. But they've you know, and which really surprised me, you know, the more, you know, because ISC is actually owned by AMC.
Oh yeah.
And you know, and I'm sitting here going like, wow, how in the hell can you sit there and not throw some of these movies that get buzz, like Swallow when it came out, it got a nice buzz.
So good.
The Wretched came out for 6 weeks at the you know, basically saved the summer of 2020 as far as theaters go, and the fact that they were releasing new movies to theaters. But it wasn't until they teamed up with Shudder, who was more established, had a bigger footprint. Now some of the ISC films are making, instead of tens of thousands, now they're making millions. Late Night with the Devil, with Evil Lurks, you know, An Evil Nature. You know, now there's, you know, Skinner Moranik did like $15 million.
It's awful.
So no, it makes you sort of wonder. It makes you sort of wonder, like, wow, you know, what would happen if they release, you know, a movie like the Blackcoat's Daughter today? I could tell you without a doubt that this would be a hit. Definitely.
I think it would,
Because
maybe
a lot of
look at
those
long-
movies, like IFC, like when you were talking just now about IFC, a lot of those movies didn't have widespread release, but then you would see them on IFC Midnight, IFC on demand and stuff, and that's how a lot of those movies found their audiences.
Yep.
Because there's a lot of movies, IFC films, that I used to check IFC on demand like all the time and see, oh, another new movie. That's how I found Excision from 2012, some Gaspar Noé's movies, and like a lot of stuff like that.
Yeah.
So like finding,
I found
their audience.
Gasper through A24. My first Gaspar Noé movie I ever watched was through A24. I watched Climax, which was that's a polarizing movie.
He's intense.
I
absolutely
love the first half of that movie, but sitting in the middle of it and they start then they start doing their opening credits halfway through the movie. That topped me out. I was like, what the hell is that? You know,
all of his movies
hard to manage.
very
Irreversible. My gosh.
Yeah, Irreversible.
That's a one-time
watch, and still look, years later that film still lingers. That's how impactful it was.
You know what? Though? But you got to give Gasper credit for one thing. I mean, it's a hard thing to say, but you know, obviously Monica Bellucci did it.
Oh
you
yeah,
got to give Gasper credit for one thing. At least he used her in a proper way. You know, like you're an actress, you're a good actress. I'm going to give you something really rough. Whereas American directors, you know, okay, put her in a tight dress.
Yeah.
And that's what they do. You know, put her in a tight dress, have her, you know, it's like, she's a really good actress, but no one uses
it.
I don't know if you've this is a very good movie. The movie we're going to be talking about today here in The Blackcoat's Daughter. So why don't you go around, start with Monty, and tell us your history with this movie. How did you discover it? Did you do a review on it? You know, what are your thoughts about revisiting it for the night show?
Actually at first, because I didn't see it, and probably about maybe the first time I saw it was maybe about over a year and a half ago. Because I think we talked about it on the Horror Hangout live stream. Because I know Velvet, he loves it. I think Jen loves it as well. And I always wanted to see it, so I finally got a chance to see it the first time, about a year and a half ago. And I was like, wow, because it was because at first I didn't know it was Osgood Perkins' first film, and seeing it again yesterday, which I needed to after watching I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Same thing. I watched that one and then cleansed the palate with this movie.
Oh boy.
Because I needed that.
Maybe it should have been. Here's what I did last summer. I watched The Blackcoat's Daughter.
Oh, wow. Maybe we'll wait for that to stream, Mika. I don't know. If
no, we're still gonna go see it. No,
okay.
Don't let
no. I would do my own. I have to do my own.
No, we want you to go see it at the theater because it'll help our friend who wrote the story and who actually was on 8 Questions. In case anybody missed out on that, in case they're thinking about being mean to her. What about you, JT? Did you rewatch it for the show? I mean, when did you find
I just
it?
finished it before we maybe like 20 minutes before we went live. I finished it. I remember when this was announced and that it was Osgood Perkins, the son of Anthony Perkins, and it was his first feature film. And it was screened in 2015, but it wasn't released till 2 years later. And I didn't see it right when it came out. I saw it maybe the next year. And I thought it was excellent. And I've been following Osgood Perkins pretty much ever since. And he has a very, very deliberately paced style to his movies. Like almost to the point of like some people won't be able to handle it. And you saw that with Long Legs when that got really big. Like, oh, it's too dreary. His atmosphere is always very bleak. And I think this is his most bleak movie out there so far.
Oh yeah, well yeah. He seems it looks like The Monkey is his most lightest fare, even though it's still drab and dreary and dark, but it's his least bleak one.
That movie took me by surprise because of how it was. I don't know if it is. I don't think so. No, the gore in it, I don't think it's PG-13.
Yeah,
there's some gnarly gore actually in that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but it's very different than everything before that. So it was it was a weird experience, not in a bad way, but it was just a weird experience seeing a movie from him that was a lot more lighthearted and comedic and over the top than like his usual dark and brooding feeling that he has, and especially throughout this movie.
How about you, Kira and Mika? When was the first time that you came across the Blackcoat's Daughter, and what was your first impressions of it?
Oh yeah, I mean, kind of similar in the sense that we didn't see it when it initially released. So I believe we saw it maybe like a year and a half after, and just kind of stumbled upon it, heard of it, and then came across it and said, "Oh, let's just actually watch it." I definitely appreciate any film, honestly, but more particularly this one on a rewatch. So we did rewatch this again for tonight's stream. But I will say, I'm always attracted to a psychological horror where the themes are like isolation or grief. I think that's always going to have some really good storytelling. So I enjoyed it just with those that emphasis, that focus.
Yeah, and I agree. I love we love like tension building films. We love what some people don't like, drawn out films. I love dreary. I love dreariness.
I love that.
I love slow paces.
As long as it's done right, which
Yeah,
he does it well in this film, like in spades.
Yeah, and
I will say this. I will say this. I didn't get the slow burn of it. I thought the pacing was pretty damn quick for the story. There wasn't, wasn't like there,
I can see what you mean by that.
I think it being cut into 3 parts it helps. Having those 3 chapters.
Because I like the back and forth. And because you don't know what's happening until you actually get to the conclusion of one person's story, and that's what I liked about the film. That's when I finally realized what was happening. I said, "Ooh, very clever."
Once you figure it all out,
put it together.
The twist.
A lot of question marks.
And it hints at it too. Because I remember when I first saw it, I was thinking like halfway through the movie when they start hinting at things. I'm like, is that the same person? And then I'm like, how are they going to pull that off? And then like when you think about it, 9 years, I think it is that passes.
Yep, 9 years. Yep.
That's long enough for her to look that different. Like if you like really suspend belief a little bit, she grew her hair out, she aged a bit, her makeup's all different. She's very young, Cat in the original beginning of the story.
Well,
so it makes sense. But you don't see it coming because of it. Like so he does a great job with this whole twist in this movie.
In a strange twist, Emma Roberts, who plays a grown-up Cat, and Kiernan and Shipka, they're 9 years apart.
Oh yeah, in real life. Interesting.
Emma's 34 and Kiernan's 25. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, it was interesting.
So,
I wonder if that was a conscious decision.
I don't know. All I know, though, it's just like let's go back to the monster for a minute, because man, we talk about actors and young actors, like and JT, about this from interviewing Amy Donald, but let's go back to the actors in the monster. That was Ella Valentine to play the daughter. Now she went on later on to make a quick and a very effective cameo in The Dark and the Wicked. I was, when she popped up in that movie, and she started like you saw how she was evil. I was just like, I was blown away because
that's a good one.
And
that's Bertino too, right?
Yeah, Bertino directed that, and he produced The Blackcoat's Daughter. He was one of the producers of The Blackcoat's Daughter, which really,
most things that he's done.
Yeah, and then you go ahead and then you see Kiernan Shipka, and what you have to remember is, like JT mentioned, he mentioned that the movie was made in 2015 and released in 2016. She's 16 years old back then. I mean, when she did The Blackcoat's Daughter, she was only 16 years old. and she was absolutely fantastic in this film.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah,
It's
she's a great
definitely her.
actress.
It's definitely her movie.
Yeah, she's a
Yeah,
great
you know,
actress.
I mean, Emma Roberts does great too, but like
I think so
it's
too.
all her. It's all Shipka's
Mhm.
performance.
It's all
She's
Shipka,
the
yeah.
standout.
Yep.
Mhm.
I wish, you know, and what I really like too, and I was listening, I was watching this because this is like first movie with him in it. You know, you know, as far as his first film, and I wanted to say, you know, because he came from an acting background before he went into directing. I think he struggled finding parts as far as being an actor goes, and I think he saw the writing on the wall, and he says, you know, I'm also just slide behind the camera, and
Yeah.
which is the wisest move he could have made. Um,
Absolutely, I love him.
Now, my
Director
question
is
to you was
fantastic.
when you started watching this film, knowing that it was his first film, were you expecting to see as much? You know, were you expecting to see him talk about his dad and Psycho a lot, or did you think that there? Because I was expecting to see something from there because I just couldn't see how he could not do it. Um,
Not
were
that
you
I
expecting
remember, no.
were you expecting to see anything from Psycho in the Blackcoat's daughter, or do you think he played it straight enough? You know, because there is a footprint in the movie. But what do you think? You think he?
I never
he
thought of that really,
Mhm.
but I mean, like
Mhm.
when I saw the movie, you obviously think, you think immediately of Norman Bates because his father played him. So you have Psycho on your mind, but not that much that I
Mhm.
was looking for anything like in the movie. But if there was a little like homage, I would have been fine with it if it was done well.
Mhm.
As long
Mhm.
as it just wasn't thrown in there for just to say,
Mhm.
hi, it's Norman Bates. It's $1 Norman Bates because my dad, played that character. Something stupid. But if it was done well, why not throw a
He
little
did.
homage to your father?
He did pay a
With the
homage to his
footprint,
father.
because
He
I don't
paid him.
remember.
Yeah, when he killed Rose, when she killed Rose.
Oh, okay, that's
Oh,
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
when she turned
makes
around,
Mhm.
and all of a sudden she's just there right in front of her, and she starts
Mhm.
stabbing her right
yeah,
there.
yeah.
Mhm.
And it's just like I'm sitting there going like, wow, that's shades of Janet Leigh right there.
Mhm.
But not obvious. I mean, it wasn't like in the
Yeah, no,
bathroom. Or
Oh,
something,
yeah.
in the hallway.
I can
So
even make that
you're saying like
correlation.
when she stabs her and stuff. Yeah, I could see the parallel there for sure. But it's something that I didn't even think of at all, like
Oh,
in
yeah.
relation to Psycho in any way, because like you said, it's done very subtly.
Yeah.
What about you, Monty? What did you? I mean, you probably. I think of us all. I'm not sure. I could be totally wrong about this, but I think you probably. I mean, because I know you covered Alfred Hitchcock a lot. And what do you think of Osgood's directing style? You know, it's only been 3 movies. You sort of feel, and this is something too. And don't be fooled. I noticed a double standard here. It's funny is that Osgood has done 3 movies, right?
Mhm.
No, he's done
One,
more than
one,
that.
what, huh?
He's done
No,
more than three.
okay, 4. I think he's done 4,
He's
right?
Four,
did
So
four movies, yeah.
Blackcoat's
Saw
daughter,
the
Long
monkey.
Legs,
Michael's daughter.
Anything that lives in the house, Gretel and
Mhm.
Hansel, The Monkey,
Yeah,
5.
the monkey.
Okay.
He's done 5
Two of
films,
those
yeah.
movies, 2 of those movies didn't even register.
Yep.
Hansel and
Oh yeah,
Gretel.
well yeah, they're the lesser ones that on
and
this.
and again, and the Blackcoat's daughter didn't register when it came out either.
Yeah.
And it only got a cult status. My point is my question and my to you is he's done 3 major films, right? He's done 3 major films, and he's considered a up and comer, a riser. This, even though 2 of his movies did pretty good money, but the first one didn't. How would you compare Osgood Perkins to Jordan Peele after his first 3 movies?
Ooh, that's
Ooh, I
a,
don't,
That's
you know,
it's
it's
nice.
so
so
different.
I don't, yeah, I kind of think about when I think about his body of work, even the ones that were not as popular, and Meek and I use popular very differently from
Yeah.
the majority of people.
Uh-huh.
So if I enjoy the film and it lingers and I think about it and I revisit it, it was a great film to me that deserves even minimal praise if it doesn't get the masses. But I think with Oz specifically, all of those works I appreciate because there should be an audience for each one of them. Like he doesn't do, it's not repetitive in nature. Like it's very varied in terms of like, I'm not going into each film expecting the same things, which I like. And I might watch each film and walk away from one not liking it, but then finding the impact in the next one. So I give him, in terms of range, even though people might view that differently, he has a creative lens in terms of telling different stories that don't always land well for everyone, but they're unique enough that there's an audience for all of them. That makes sense.
Yeah, and I would say
that summed up great. Actually.
Yeah, and I would say him and Jordan Peele are very different directors, but to tag on what Kira said, they are both unique in terms of each film and each story that they're telling is, again, very unique. You're not going to find the same story. They do a great job with using the horror elements, the tension building. So maybe in those ways they're similar, but I love the unique storytelling with both directors.
My reason behind the question was because, you see the double standard is like, they come out there and, the monkey did okay, I don't think it did nearly as well as Longlegs did, but it did good. It did well. And everybody's just, this is, another thing where, I noticed this when I was watching and going, man, he gets a lot of praise for 3 films. And I'm thinking, man, Jordan Peele comes out, and if he doesn't open up at $100 million for a weekend, everybody's all over his ass. Oh yeah,
that's probably people just put in expectations because everything you make is not going to land. Eventually, you're going to get a miss in there. And I think too, even when you hear from some directors, I mean, you want your film to be successful, but I think that's more of the audience expectation. Probably.
Well, the press doesn't look at it that way. I mean, they don't come out. If you go back and see, if you go back and read some of the reviews or see people comment on Jordan Peele's, even within our own community, there's a lot of people out there that seem to be sitting there on their haunches with knives in both their hands, waiting for him to have a
always.
Whereas Osgood Perkins, it seems like he's gotten sort of a get out of jail free card because of his last name.
Also look at. No, go ahead, honey.
Oh no, I was saying people really. I might be an island on my own, but he got so much hate for the "I am the pretty thing that lives in the house."
Yeah, it was
like,
so different. That was like the most different compared, except for Gretel and Hansel. Gretel.
Yes, exactly. So I felt like I feel like those 2 films for him, there's definitely been a more critical lens in terms of like people trying to understand what was your purpose, your point with those. And I enjoyed both of them for different reasons. I think with Jordan Peele, he more or less has had 3 successful films, right? And I think a lot of that has to do with cultural impact too. Like he's not to say that's the only thing, but like I know that there's so much buzz around him culturally, and then just having him make these stories that always have this clever little twist. Like I enjoyed Nope, I enjoyed Get Out, like they had these what am I trying to say? These messaging in them too that was quite poignant in the time.
His symbolism is excellent.
Exactly. So I just think they resonated more with mainstream audiences and critics alike in terms of what they were trying to say, and the audience just kind of wanted to eat it up, especially after Get Out. I think that set the bar, understandably so, and then people were marching at the bit for anything that comes after. And then what's the next project? There's more of excitement in terms of what he's putting out. Doesn't mean it'll always play well.
I get excited whenever I hear he's got a new project coming out, because a lot of people, they see Jordan, sort of like with Osgood, I'm sure he's done some short films, and Jordan was doing, if you really go back and look at their series, Key and Peele, if you go back and really look, he was doing horror back then. And some of those skits, some of the skits were not funny on purpose. They were like horror skits.
I've seen some of those.
Yes. Yeah, real dark. It was just like you're sitting there going like, I thought this was supposed to be a comedy, but you know what? But you know what? I'm
But I mean,
all
that-
in.
Twilight
also-
Zone too. Am I making that
Yeah,
up?
he
Yeah,
did
he
like
did that.
he produced. I think he was
Yeah,
one of
the
the
new
producers
Twilight
for
Zone,
like
that was
the,
good. I
or the
enjoyed
host
that.
or something.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
But that, yeah, I think that also answers your question, Pat. I mean, Osgood Perkins
Uh,
had the name. Yeah, he has the Perkins name.
Mhm.
But Get Out was such a huge hit when that
Yeah.
film came out. That film, like compared to this movie, like Osgood's directorial debut, it's like hardly anybody knew what this was. When Get Out came out, that was such a huge hit, and like you said, culturally, it was such a boom went off.
You know,
That
and you
it
can't really.
reinvigorated horror in a way.
Mhm.
I mean, you can't really sit there and sit there either and sit there and say that Osgood didn't have a step up like
Oh, yeah.
Jordan Peele had. You know,
Mhm.
Peele. You know, Jordan Peele had a Key and Peele, and you sit there and look at that and says, yeah, but he got to step up through the comedy. Well, I tell you what else that I looked at, and I think this really helped Osgood because obviously because of his dad's name, it is a launch pad. Not to say that his talent isn't there because it is there. But
Oh,
you look at the 5-year run of the Bates Motel. That anytime you hear Norman Bates or Bates Motel, you think of Hitchcock and you think of Perkins, one of the two. And you definitely think of it, and you think and you know it's going to be influencing him. You know it's going to influence him. It's just, I mean, obviously we just talked about that. He was influenced by Hitchcock, and he's definitely influenced by Roman Polanski. Because there's a lot of Rosemary Baby.
Yep. And Repulsion.
Well.
Repulsion.
Mhm.
This movie reminds me of
Mhm.
actually. Repulsion always pops in my head while I watch Blackcoat's Daughter.
Mhm.
And it's just I just want to, to me I was just like, how do we look at both directors? They're both up and coming. They're both almost basically have three one cult favorite, because you got to go with Blackcoat's Daughter. It is a cult favorite. It is there. Financially, it wasn't, but the last two movies that he's done have made their mark. I mean, obviously he is now a director of note. Everybody's gonna be taking his call. No one's gonna be sitting there saying who.
Oh yeah,
they're gonna be taking
before Long Legs. Not many people knew him as a director and his work prior to that. When Long Legs is the movie that really made everyone in the horror genre go, "Oh shit, who's this Osgood Perkins, the son of Anthony Perkins? He's got 3 movies before this." And then like a lot of people started digging back and seeing this movie in Hansel and Gretel or whatever way it is, and the pretty thing in the house, and going back through the catalog. And the monkey, I think, helped too. That did pretty well.
To me, what really the calling card that made you stand up to take notice of Osgood was when Longlegs crushed Terrifier 3 at the box office.
Yeah.
Crushed it. I mean,
Long Legs was my second film of that year.
Yeah, can I say too, though, it's not lost on me that he was very smart in terms of his casting. I think that you can have really good films, maybe a cast that's not well known, and I hate that because there's so much talent that because they don't have this big name recognition are overlooked just based off that. I think Longlegs was a really good example of using I always brutalize the name Micah, right? Micah.
It's Micah. Yeah, Micah.
Like she just stands really well in terms of horror traditionally and has her own cult following. That even being smart and strategic about casting her in the lead, along with Nicolas Cage, who has his own cult following, I think that highlighted the film more maybe if he didn't cast it in the way he did. And I think that was quite smart, in my opinion, along with the plot and all of those things.
If Nicolas Cage wasn't involved, I don't think it would have hit as hard as it did.
No,
which is really funny. Which is really funny because, that's interesting you mentioned it, because there's one thing
only
that
in it for not that long either.
Yes, that's the thing I was going to comment about. JT was he used the screen time with Nicolas Cage. He made it so effective by not barely having him on. I mean, I thought that's what really made the movie go. As far as Micah goes, you're right. I mean, his casting was smart because Micah, not only had Micah done,
she's done a lot.
She had done an excellent ISC film.
Yeah,
It
she was.
follows the guest,
Mhm.
which is
Mhm.
my favorite of mine. I fucking love the guest.
Yeah, the guest
What's the one,
Watcher.
I'm forgetting the one where she did when she moves across the country with the boyfriend.
Watcher.
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 Yeah.
Yeah, watch it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she's
that
dope.
was a good one. I was like,
Mhm.
we're gonna be doing that one on a Sunday soon. That's for sure.
Oh, great.
We're
Yeah,
gonna be doing that.
that's
We're gonna be doing that one on a Sunday. I thought I thought that was great casting too.
Oh yeah, it's
And the
great.
thing is though, I like the casting he did for the Blackcoat's daughter.
Mhm.
There's not without a doubt. I mean, I'm like Kiernan Kiernan Shipka. Who also had it was sort of reminded me of Brian Bertano because he used her the same way. Brian Bertano, he had Ella Valentine in The Monster, and then he used her as a cameo in The Dark and the Wicked. And I thought he did the same thing with Kiernan. He had her star in Blackcoat's Daughter, and then he had her come in for a cameo in Longlegs. Sort of like a muse, both like muses. I'm like, that's pretty interesting, how they use those two in the same way, which made them very effective. And
Also, speaking of casting, James Remar, can we talk him for a minute? Because
let's do that.
Oh yeah, he's good. Yes,
and he's great in this. I mean, he's always great, but just his he's a very spiritual, faith man. He's trying to do the right thing. His daughter was murdered 9 years ago. He's in denial still about it, and the wife, you can tell their marriage is not the best because she's accepting reality. He can't. And he says this line to her that I think is very important, and he says that I saw God in you. When he was saying that, when he saw somebody that she reminded him of, and we find out later it's his daughter Rose, and how it all connects. But interesting how he says that when we see what happens to her and what happened to her already, and what she was possessed by and everything.
Well, I think that led to the most singular, this most singular. Even though there are a couple real close to it, but for me, the most singular moment in that movie was, when Joan, when after she talked to him, she goes inside the bathroom and she laughs.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa.
That's one of the first big hints that it's
I know. Yeah, that was a big hint right there.
That everything's connected. That's when it's all right.
I
don't know how this bitch is involved with everything I've been seeing, but I know she is somehow.
Yeah, that was disturbing.
I took that though. I took that as it was disturbing, but in that moment, I realized that this is someone who has a complete conflict with their own faith. They don't believe in it. They don't believe in what you're buying, and the fact that you see that in me for her is laughable, right? Because I'm seeing the opposite, right?
Well, he asked her. He said before he says that line in the hotel room. He says, "Do you believe in God?" She says, "No." And he says, "No," that quickly, and she says, "No."
No.
So she straight up, exactly. She's being honest. No,
Right.
And she has good reason
and
not
the fact
to,
that
because she had believed in this whole, demon entity, which I guess we'll get into, whatever the hell it is exactly. Which I like how they leave it ambiguous. They don't give you too many answers or anything like that on what exactly.
I definitely think that she was, and this is the part that really got me, as far as that. We're gonna be jumping ahead a little bit, but this is, I watched the movie, and then I'm a special features freak, so I immediately watched it, turned it right around, and watched it again with the commentary. And really was really interesting, and I've never seen this before from a screenwriter or a director. But end of the movie, he said it's open. But what makes it open? He sat there and said, well, she's breaking down because she realized that her parents are dead. I was like, I don't know what movie you just got done watching, but it wasn't that. I mean, Joan's not standing there in the snow crying because she realizes her parents are dead. That ship sailed years ago. Yeah. She's crying because
the demon there is left her.
Yes.
Yeah, I can kind of see
all alone now.
Yeah, I can kind of see what he means in some way because in the like we know in the beginning of the film, she realizes that her parents aren't coming because they're dead. She already
That's right.
realizes
She
that.
has this dream
So
or
so
something.
then
That's
she
right.
attaches. My interpretation is then she attaches to this demon because her parents are gone. There's no one coming. There's nothing to look forward to. So it's easy for that attachment to occur. So then at the end of the film, you see her trying to relive that experience, trying to call back this demon because without him, she does have nothing left. You know, so I kind of.
I think she killed her parents.
Yeah, I think so
Oh.
too.
Oh yeah,
I think
wow.
that's
Yeah, I never saw it that way.
No,
I never
me
saw it
neither.
that way.
Never saw it
Uh-uh.
like
No,
that.
I think
When
she
would
made
she
the
have
deal.
killed
That
him?
was the deal.
Okay,
That
all
was what
right.
that.
Yeah, okay, I can see that.
Okay,
I
yeah,
can
not
see
by
that
her
point.
own hand, but her own manifestation
Like
or
her
connection
making
with
the
the
deal
demon.
to connect with the
Oh,
demon or
okay.
get possessed by him. She ended up making the deal for the parents to die in a car accident. I can see that. I can see that.
I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't see
Oh no,
that.
what Mika, like for example, like I can get like connecting to think about like, oh my god, this is not lost to me in terms of nothing comes good from making a pact with the devil, the demon, whatever you
Rarely
want to call
does.
it, right?
Rarely,
You have
rarely
to give up something, right, in order to gain, like maybe unbeknownst to you in terms of like the gravity of the pact you're making. But I don't think that she like organically knew that by making this connection, it then affect my parents no longer being here, right? But I do think like she should have known, or we all should know, right, that you
Yeah.
should never seek to make a deal with evil intent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that's why she was in the boiler room. She was practicing. She was worshiping the deity who she was in. The demon she was in. She
Mhm.
knew what she was doing. She had the It doesn't take much, and again, we have sort of had a sort of same sort of dialogue with when we covered anything for Jackson. We also had a similar theme of making a deal with the devil. And there was also another one I just did for Dollar Theater that was the Fair Haired Child, which also involved bringing back a child, through making a deal with the devil, and that is you are consciously making that you are and it doesn't take long. It doesn't take a lot of knowledge to tap into that sort of stuff. It takes a lot of knowledge not to destroy yourself in doing it, but anybody can grab a book or a spell book or what have you and have at it.
Not
I mean,
me.
a lot of
Yeah, not
girls.
me.
It seems like
A lot of
No, no, I ain't touched that.
no, see,
a lot of
Pat,
teens.
that's
A lot of
interesting.
teens are into that. Huh?
That's interesting because I never thought of it that way.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
didn't.
I don't look at it that way. Still, I see where like I could see that link and why you see it that it happened that way. I don't. I always saw it that because her parents died is
Yeah.
kind of what opened her up to get
That's
possessed by
yeah.
the
I think
demon
I
because
think
of
it
the
did.
grief.
Yeah,
I think
JT.
you know
Yeah.
I
what?
could
Just
see
think
what
about
you're
it.
saying, though. I mean, that's an interesting take. I've never
Mhm.
saw it
But
that way.
think about it this way. When her parents died, she had no reaction. The only reaction she had was the fact that she wanted to stay at the school to stay there. She didn't want to get picked up by anybody. She
Well,
wanted
that's
to be
because
at
she
the
knew
school.
her.
But
She knew
yeah,
her
she knew
parents
they
were
were
dead
dead
already because she
already.
had the dream.
Well, yes, but you think that relatives would come and pick her up or not? What I think she really was hoping for was the headmaster taking her to his house. I think that was the goal of her. She
Well,
wanted
you
to
see
be
her
at the
so
school.
upset in the beginning when he's leaving.
Yeah, yeah. I'm
But
kind of like JT because that's what I thought. Like she had that dream, so she already knew they were dead. So she was kind of in a fragile state. And then, like I said, how she was trying to latch on to, like the headmaster wanted to go with him because she knew no one was coming. So she was pretty just open to just falling into. So I was kind of
I never got the impression that there was. I don't know. I mean, what did you guys think? Did you get the impression there was other family members? I
Well,
just
see,
didn't
that's what
think
I
that
love
there
about the film in general. A lot of is going to be the audience forming their own opinions. Like I was led to believe there was some type of
too. Yeah.
exactly. It was
That's
I
what's
was
great about it.
exactly. I thought it was some type of fracturing already in place that was unsaid. We'll never know. But clearly, there was no excitement or overall joy, even with the break in my opinion, like school ending and then just eagerly looking forward to her parents versus the headmaster Gordon, I believe his name was.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I just feel like, oh, there's something that's clearly layered that we're not going to know about as the audience watching the movie. We have to formulate our own opinion. So yeah, I definitely think that the family breakdown is probably something there. Clearly, she's at the school too, right? Away. So who knows?
No, that's
Yeah,
true.
I
We
think
don't
I
know
just think
what's
that I think that's what that she had the dream and she and she was on the phone and the deity was telling her different things. And then one interesting aspect about when she was on the phone all the time talking to the deity or the demon was the voice on the phone was the same voice that was from the guy who in his Psycho. He was it was the same guy. Yeah, it was really. I was like, oh, that creeps me out.
I don't know.
Yeah, they used him for that role. But I just felt like that's what she did. She made the deal. I mean, because most kids at that age, they don't understand the ramifications of what they're doing when they're messing with powers like that. They don't understand what they're messing with. And I think that when it happens, it opens her up a lot more. And she definitely knew what she was doing as far as rituals go. Established that. And then when Rose walked in and saw that, and the one thing I noticed right away was like a lot of people when they come in there, they would actually go there like, "What are you doing?" Or or what's.
Yeah, she
As
just
soon as Rose walked in there, she saw that and turned right around on the dime.
Yeah,
and
that
got
I
out.
probably with Rose. That would have freaked me out. I don't know if I'm
Oh,
interrupting
yeah,
that.
I'd be
I
right
think
out of
I
it.
think I'd be going.
That looks creepy as shit. I don't need an explanation from you.
Yeah.
Whatever you do.
I'm like, what the hell? Shoot.
Yeah, I told
Call me
Kira,
next week. Tell me
if I
that's
was.
about.
Yeah, I told Kira if I was Rose, I would have been out there so early, like a couple days early. She was acting too weird for me. I would have been
Been
gone.
gone.
But that's also a testament to Shipka's acting because she's so
Yeah.
innocent in the beginning.
Yes.
And she's like in
Yeah.
that first scene with the headmaster, and she's like asking how far is Albany is. She's so innocent looking, and then she really looks run down and possessed and evil as shit by the end of the movie. Like she did a great job.
Yeah. And do you guys remember in the scene with the headmaster that
That's
for
what I was gonna
a brief
do.
moment she looked over and he said, "What's so
Yep.
funny?"
I think there was
Yeah.
already the demon there. She was
Yeah,
already
so it was
interacting
already
with
like-
it.
She was like looking out the
Yep.
window or looking aside, and she giggled.
Smiling.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then she had to get brought back by him. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So it was starting already early. Yeah, the
Mhm.
interactions.
Yeah, there's something probably definitely going on with her already because they do
definitely.
mention. Because like my question would be if she knowingly summoned this demon, how did she even know it existed? Like how did she know to summon it and stuff? But there is a scene in the movie where Rose mentions about the nuns and tells like a rumor that they were trying to conjure up Satan. Now was that just a rumor or was that actually what was going on there? I don't know.
I didn't,
Because it's very ominous.
You would have thought, I think what that was a story because I think
That's what I thought it was.
I thought so because if they had really been into it, I think they would have recognized within
what was going on.
Kat, but as you saw her, like they were trying to make her say the prayer before breakfast again, and then she threw up from saying like praying made her ill.
Which she throws up a decent amount in this movie.
Oh,
There's at least 2 or 3 times I think that either her or her older self fused in some way.
But think about this. I was thinking too, and again, I think this is only half of it. Clearly, this is a film that focuses on like, I mean, you could maybe call it a religious horror. There's demonic possession, clearly, but think about someone who already has this underlining, to me, mental health issues. I thought she had underlining mental health issues that were compounded by those other factors. Because even, I don't know if you guys know this, Megan and I work in mental health primarily, and then a lot of the individuals that I work with are schizophrenic and they hear voices, and then sometimes I've had people take on religious components in terms of like what they hear and what the voices
will
that they
become
live with.
religious.
Exactly. And so I thought this film was quite interesting that I saw her initially as someone who was struggling with isolation, grief, loss. There was this religious element to the school. There was demonic possession mixed with mental health. There was a lot going on there for me. I was like, oh, this, and that. So she was already fractured, and the demonic piece just to me took it to a whole nother level.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was, unlike like you watch The Exorcist and you see Reagan on the bed there, and you're sitting there going you're watching her go through living hell, but at the same time, you absolutely have faith that Father Karras is going to come in and and manage to save the day, or even in Saint Maud, we'll use another A24 film.
Yeah.
There's just like some religious horror. You feel like there's a out. There's going to be the Unholy or the Pope's Exorcist or something like that. Where at the end of the movie, even the right,
there's a resolution at the end.
Right, there's going to be a positive resolution.
Evil is destroyed by good, and all is well in Tinseltown. But this is a movie that is not like that. This is like a horror that there's no out. It's depressing as shit by the end of this.
Yeah,
it is bleak. It is such a bleak film.
It's sort of like a supernatural noir.
Yeah, because think about it. How alone you have to feel.
Oh, yes.
And how empty you have to feel to want back a demonic entity to be back controlling you or a part of you because you have nothing else. That's some dark stuff.
It really is.
That's like desperation to the extreme, and it's tragic seeing what happens to her.
Oh,
and that's why that seems so powerful at the end. Breaking down.
Yeah, because I actually thought
even my demon isn't around no more. It's like now what do I do?
Because I was saying to myself, I wonder if she was suffering some type of mental breakdown or something like that. Because that scene right there is like, man, you can't be that desperate. But I guess it's because Osgood never really shows any type of mental problem with her. We all think it's just demonic, but the fact that when he does that, it kind of lets me believe that there's something mentally wrong with her.
And didn't she escaped too, right? Like
she escaped.
From
the mental asylum.
Yeah, she killed the one woman for her ID.
Yeah, for Joan. That was the real Joan.
And see, that was something she did despite like the deep being possessed. Yeah, that's not lost on me too. Like in the sense of seeking the that gave her a sense of purpose. So there was incentive for her breaking out, but the fact that she was in this place and clearly having issues to address. In that 9-year time, again, we have to assume and guess clearly, like what work was really what work was done, or like how was that time spent? What was
we know that she was exorcised.
Oh yeah,
That's basically all we know.
Exactly,
they did the exorcism. It seemed that it worked because she says, "Don't go," and I love the look of the demon. That we only see briefly, like 2 or 3 times, but it's like it looks like a Baphomet. Like
it looks like the Babylon,
like the goat. Yeah, it's very cool. The design.
I thought
it
looked like
shadow. Yeah, a little bit. I can see it. It has that goat horn thing though going on.
I mean, I was watching that and going like, God, we saw more of that than we did in Pyewacket. And I was like, okay.
It kind of reminded me of the, I guess you could say, Satan from the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina.
Yeah. I remember that.
Yeah.
Which again starred Kiernan Shipka. She's done a lot of supernatural stuff for such a short career.
Yeah, Totally Killer too. Wasn't she in that?
Yeah, she was great in that.
It was good.
I still haven't seen that Totally.
I enjoyed it. It was fun.
Yeah, I heard it was a fun.
It's like a horror thing of Back to the Future.
They did it well. They did it well. Yeah.
What was that one that came out last year? Something.
Oh no.
Oh, I didn't watch that. Time Cut. Was that what it was?
Oh, I did. I watched it. I didn't like it.
Oh yeah.
That's what I'm thinking of.
Here's
something
the thing with
Frankenstein. And
Oh,
like
Oh,
Lisa,
that was
Lisa Frankenstein? No, not that was
Lisa
Oh,
Frankenstein.
Yeah,
Was it
Oh,
Lisa
I
Frankenstein?
did like
it
Lisa
was
Frank.
something.
That
I
was
can't
that
remember.
was fun. That was
Yeah, I
fun.
like those.
Yeah, but the thing with Time Cut was that film was made prior to Totally Killer coming out. Well,
Oh,
unfortunately, it never got released.
Oh, I
oh,
It
didn't
never
know
got
that.
released, and then Totally Killer came out, and
oh,
so
that
everyone,
hurt it. Yeah.
yeah, it's
So
still
true.
bad. It's still a bad
Oh,
film.
okay.
Oh, yeah, in comparison, yeah, Mika didn't see it. I
I
watched
didn't
it. It
see it.
was,
Yeah.
Is
Yeah. 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 But what you guys were saying when she escaped, though, that wasn't lost on me that she committed murder. So the demon is supposedly gone, but she committed murder just clear
Yeah.
with her own
So it's
self. So
that's a her thing. Like
yeah, that's her thing.
that's
It
not a
wasn't her-
demon
Yeah.
thing there.
Yeah,
yeah,
that
that was
was
strictly her.
That's where they came up with the Nor ending. It's like because there's
Mhm.
no happy ending for her. She's gonna
Oh,
she'll either die she'll die out of exposure or she'll die when the police track him down.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you know,
Exactly.
I going back to James Remar and Lauren Holly. I mean, what a that was a sad couple.
Ah,
Mm.
yeah.
Man, that was one of the saddest things. I mean, the part wasn't very big. In fact, Lauren Holly actually went in there and all her scenes were filmed with her in the passenger seat.
Mhm.
She never had another. That's all she stayed. She stayed in the.
Oh, that's
in the
right.
seat.
Yeah, I don't remember
Yeah.
out of the car.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
but I thought the parents though. Oh, I mean, of all the bad luck,
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
you know.
Oh.
Of
Well,
all
and
the
you
people
think
you just
and you
stop
think
and
of
pick
it
up.
yeah,
Yeah, I
you
know.
think
Yeah,
of that too. It's kind of like a 360 that they would end up being killed by the same person that murdered their daughter. But
Mhm.
when you look at them, they live in such an unhappy life. That again goes back to how grief can be so compounded. Like it's 9
Yep.
years later and they still haven't been able to move on. Understandably, you see that the mother does want to seem to do that a little bit, and dad is still not there. And you know, like she talked about the interactions he's having with different girls they may
He
run
said,
into.
he
Yeah, but
says
it's
the
just
same thing to everyone.
yeah, it's just
Yeah.
really
Mhm.
sad their existence, but also compounded by the fact that that's the way they die too, the same way that their daughter died.
And brutally too, man.
Brutally,
She
Mhm.
yeah.
decapitates these people.
you know, joke.
I mean, that's some crazy shit. Just
Yeah,
the
that was
demon.
crazy.
It's ritualistic at least.
Uh-huh.
oh yeah.
It fits the narrative with the demon.
Yeah, so that
Um,
was just tough to see him go
Crazy.
out like that. Jeez, you
Ugh.
know?
I thought
Yeah.
they
Oh,
did
yeah.
not hold
Exactly.
back. They did not hold back on the brutality. I mean, because
Mm-mm.
Oh no.
you go back to Kat when she killed the two nuns.
Oh yeah.
Holy shit! I mean, you know, and he mentions that a lot of people were really disturbed by that scene because how she
Oh,
just
her relentless stabbing.
go,
Yeah.
he let it go on. You know, it
Yeah.
wasn't just like one or two stabs and that was it. You
Mhm.
know, she's sitting there and like stabbing him like 10 or 15 times. It was like
Mhm.
and he filmed that way, and it really drove home that again, it seemed like his whole purpose was just to show you that but she's only 16 years old. She's only nothing. She's evil.
Mhm.
And he really wanted to emphasize that, like, listen, I know maybe you were expecting some sort of salvation here. That it ain't happening.
Mhm.
And between how she killed Rose and the two nuns, yeah, I mean, she was absolutely there's no redemption,
Mm-mm.
at all. When she got the exorcism, you didn't believe for a second that shit took hold. You're thinking, no, that priest is outmatched. He's not getting rid of that. You probably need to contact Constantine for that shit.
Yeah. See, you got rid of I think they did get rid of the demon, but was already
I think they did
disturbed.
too.
Yeah, she was
Yeah.
already disturbed. She had already built her own attachment. So I think the demon probably gave her a little push, but we can see later on in life that, she has those tendencies. There's some mental health
I mean,
issues.
just
Well,
the
think
chance,
about-
just the chance for her to get back there
Mhm.
to see and hopefully get the demon again back.
Mhm.
She's willing to murder and all
Mhm.
that and
Yeah.
commit all these
Oh, yeah,
crimes
yeah.
and stuff to get there. So just that how tempting it is to her and
Mhm.
how
Oh, yeah.
vulnerable and alone she is. It shows a lot right there.
Mhm.
You know what I was thinking about too? Like, again, when you think about demonic possession, like, historically, right? It always says that it's, I'm kind of paraphrasing here, usually easier, right, for demonic forces to take hold of damaged people. or fractured
heard that,
people,
yeah.
Yep.
vulnerable people.
Children
So,
also, because they're open-minded.
Exactly. So if we think about it even in that way, she was already, in my opinion, all of those things.
Mhm.
And so it was
Yeah.
quite easy for that demonic possession. And then when she didn't have that, I just felt like, what was already lingering under the surface was still quite present. It's just that I felt a greater sense of purpose with this force kind of at my side, if you will.
Mhm.
Well,
That's why I
this is all.
feel like
This is
That's why I feel like she was just taken over by the thing
Mhm.
and didn't purposely conjure it, because I feel like the underlying things, and then knowing her parents were not coming because they died, is what opened her up to being susceptible to being, taken over by this demon or
Now,
called by him.
I got a question for you too, and a question of styles. So let's go back to Brian Bertano for a second, because he also had directed a possession movie as well, in Dark and the Wicked. And there's one major difference between the movies. Both movies are really good, but there's one thing I liked a lot about the Blackcoat's Daughter. I think I like this premise for any story that Bertano did not do. And I think he meant to do it on purpose that way. But we never we know what happens to Kat. We know where she got. We see that with the phone calls. We see that with the worshiping. We see that with the actions. And the Dark and the Wicked, we walk in the middle of it. We don't know what the mom, like the mom was like. How does she raise up? Where does she get the information? Because most possessions happen with young kids, between 12, 15, 16. I mean, you can ask any clergyman, they'll tell you that. Most possessions happen with young, because their minds are open and susceptible. And so that's what, and you look at it's just, who knows why, right? Do I believe that they're sitting over there, doing spells? No, I don't know what causes it, but it does happen. Seems to happen that way. But with the Dark and the Wicked, it's like we walk in the middle of the story, what's already happening, and you got this. You really want to go back to the beginning, like, how did we get here? When I walk through the door, how did I get here? And that never gets answered. And it always nagged me, because it's like, I'd like to know how it happened. How does someone like that get a hold of information like that for that to happen? Whereas,
see, I like stuff like that. I like not necessarily knowing like origins, in the sense of I love sometimes jumping into a story where you're in the thick of it, you're in the midst of it, you have no idea.
I like
but
when
we're
they do
here.
that.
Yeah, I do like that. And I think when I have question marks, I know a lot of people don't like that, and especially with endings that do that. But yeah, I do love, like, I kind of thought in terms of that film, like, there could have been underlining negativity, or sometimes the land, right? There's these things that can occur that can emanate these things, but I feel as though, when I don't know, it's so much more intriguing.
Yeah, I love the interpretation. I love this interpretive what's probably going on.
Too. You can go so many directions. Like, I don't know.
Well,
I know
the same thing happened in Hereditary. If you go back to Hereditary, it was like in the middle of the story. There was just like, we don't know how Toni Collette got to where she got. Like, how does she end up? Because we know her mom was, but how did she get involved in this? And we never,
it was probably like just that, it's that family lineage, so maybe, what
and routine practice, right? Don't forget her mother. Again, that routine practice, that cult that she, like, I call it a cult, that group that she formed, and like, you can tell that was practice routinely done.
Well, and they tried in that movie. They tried to possess Charlie, or Charlie first. And so they were trying for a while, and the mom was grooming, or the grandma, Toni Collette's mom, was grooming whoever they could to take host for payment for a long while.
Yeah, for a long while. Unfortunately, after that crazy incident happened to Charlie, then they got the brother.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
That was way planned ahead, and they hinted a lot at mental illness being a huge thing in that family. That the mother was, and Toni Collette obviously has issues too. And that's such a good movie, man. I don't know how you don't like it, Pat.
You could do a master class on it, honestly.
I only brought this up to put another, just to put a spin on it. But it ain't gonna say, man, that movie is like.
I love it.
I love her.
It's okay. It's okay.
That's all right. Yeah, that's okay.
See, what you guys need to go back there and watch Late Night with the Devil again.
I love that. I like that one.
I did enjoy that one.
I had Chris Stew on from that. The guy who played Chris Stew. I love that guy.
Awesome.
He's so fucking funny.
And see, quickly, I just want to highlight in Midsummer, that was a whole bunch of like that mental health as well. You could do a master class on that.
Oh yeah, just on codependency and everything.
Exactly. Yeah. So much.
That's a great movie too, though. I love Midsummer. Not as much as Hereditary.
Right.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course. Of course, there's another movie with a different spin on possession, and one with one of the unique twists. And in fact, we did a deep dive on that for the ISC show, and that was Consecration too. Consecration was a very interesting movie.
I haven't seen that
the one
one.
with Jenna Malone? I don't think I saw that one.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one. Yeah,
I haven't seen that one either.
Now that one was really strange.
Hobbs is in the chat. What's up, Hobbs?
Okay, I'll get a.
Hobbs.
Yeah, let me write
Hereditary
that down.
was very self-explained with the cult. I thought it was a fantastic.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, Hobbs.
Okay, best in motion picture.
I still say Toni Collette should have been nominated for.
That's right, Monty.
Masterclass.
Not over Haley Bennett and Swallow. Hell no.
There was so many. I mean, I think we see them with The Substance. Maybe they'll start changing it, but there's so many great horror performances that could have been nominated. I think hopefully with The Substance they'll change their tune to take it.
I think Kiernan deserves. I'm not sure she won anything for this. It being out, not doing so well, and everything else. But I tell you one thing. After watching this, I hope she did get a few things because for the awards because she acted her ass off.
Yeah,
I mean, she was so good.
Yeah, she's great.
And let's see. Acting, Toni Collette acting was on. See, he's just doing that. See what you started the Nana's buzzing up a hornet's nest here.
Toni Collette is exceptional in everything.
Oh yeah, she is.
She isn't good, but she just wasn't here. And it wasn't because she wasn't good. She's not good. It's just that I just don't think that Ari Aster directed her. I just don't.
Oh well,
I think he was starstruck.
Oh, I think Toni Collette is very hard because I think that she, for me, and Mika knows this, she's an actress where, honestly, I don't necessarily need to know what the film is about to watch a film where Toni Collette stars in it. And I'm being honest, every film that I've seen her in, she's phenomenal. I think that scene where she's at the dinner table, when it's just this camera focus on her and that dialogue, the raw emotion that she provokes, like it's so commanding, at least. In that moment, you just see it's a masterclass.
Yeah. And I think with some directors, if you have a good actor or actress, some directors will just say, "I'm confident in you enough to let you kind of just eat the scenery. I'm just pointing the camera."
That's what happened with them.
But I think that's good. I think that's good sometimes because if you have the caliber like that type of an actress, I am going to trust you to kind of do what you need to do with that scenery. I think
chewing scenery is not good acting. I mean, that's just that. I mean,
I think that was great. That was great.
Look at Al Pacino. He does the same sort of thing. He gets out there, he yells, he shouts, and he's like he's imposing himself like, look, I'm a great actor.
What I will say about Al Pacino, I can highlight film. I love Al Pacino, but I'm going to be honest. There's some films where completely he shines in terms of his acting, right? Versus some films where you're like, okay, not necessarily overrated, but not as impactful as this film. But he's also an actor where I think you can trust him in a different way. Like there's going to be some actors and actresses that get not a pass, but you understand that they can be trusted with the work. That doesn't mean that it's always going to land well, if that makes sense. I think Toni Collette.
That's why I see what's Hereditary.
I can tell you right now, he and Dan Stevens in The Ritual. No.
I love Dan
Oh,
Stevens.
no. I
No.
didn't like it. I didn't like that
No.
film. I might be on my own there. I did not like that film.
I heard that was not a very good movie.
I did not
What's
like
really
it at all.
really so sad
It was
because
was
he was
another-
actually
By myself.
he's actually been on a pretty good I was surprised he did it, but then I thought at the end I'm going like Russell Crowe, which is the one of the last actors you would think of, if you want to talk about religious horror. I mean, Danny Houston was great in Consecration. He was really good in that. And
That's
I tell you the one, and Jeffrey Dean Morgan actually got he was actually in a good
Possession?
movie for
A
it, too.
Possession. I like the Possession.
That's a great movie. I
No,
love that.
The Unholy.
Oh, okay, that one. I don't think I've seen that.
Holy.
I don't know.
I've heard of it.
Yeah.
Well,
And then
it's-
the
it's-
one with the-
It's
Oh,
funny.
like Russell Crowe.
It's funny. Russell Crowe does a great job in The Pope's Exorcist.
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah, I can't say. I can't
Another
say
movie called The
Russell Crowe.
Exorcism.
yeah, for some,
Yeah, he
Talk about-
bothers me.
Well,
He
Mika, I
bothers
think
me.
me and you are biased about Russell Crowe because of how he's been described in real life, not the
Yeah, that's
nicest
probably it.
person.
Yeah.
So I think that just correlates to why it's hard for us to watch him in film.
Yeah, I can't
Well,
watch it.
I loved him in the Pope's Exorcist. I thought he did a tremendous job, and the screenplay was absolutely phenomenal. I was like blown away with some of the screen with what they were actually able to say in that movie,
Yeah.
because up to that point the church had never been exposed like that before. I can't remember a movie where the Catholic Church got put on blast like that. It's always been sort of for like you can because the priests and the popes are always godly, and and they're always above everything, and it's always been like that, and then for them to come out there and the Pope's Exorcist and sit there and acknowledge some of the church's history and some of the damage it did, the tremendous damage. I never expected to see that in a mainstream film. And I think that's really I think
especially because it's hard to get those movies made for obvious reasons.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. We're gonna go ahead and especially want the blessing of the Vatican. Yeah, we're gonna go out there. We're gonna roast your history. The part where you killed.
Yeah, exactly. Right? We're gonna talk about all that.
Yeah.
We're gonna don't worry. We're gonna dress it up. It's gonna sound and look fantastic.
Now, do you feel right? I mean, because we're talking about the Blackcoat's daughter, and then the Vitch happened right after that. It does seem like there have been the last 8 or 9 years, 10 years. There has been a renaissance in religious horror. It's a supernatural horror. It's one of my very favorites. That's probably my favorite kind of horror. It's supernatural horror. What about for you guys? I mean, how do you stand on that? Are you big fans of individual performances, like in the Blackcoat's daughter, or are you big fans of the genre?
I like supernatural horror in general. Like
I do.
That's also a huge genre that you can chop down into like a million little subgenres. But religious horror in general, I'm not really a religious person, so it doesn't hit me as much as it might for other people. But I do like the genre. I'm just not like die hard on it. But there are a handful of classics, and I mean, The Exorcist, The Omen films that go on and on with those type of movies. So it works. Like just because I'm not religious doesn't mean it doesn't affect. Like I can't put myself in those shoes and imagine what the hell it would be like to go through that, or whatever they're going through in whatever movie. But I'm not like a die-hard religious horror fan.
Yeah, I would agree with that too. I like I'll watch religious horror. And I like it. It's not one of my favorite genres, but I agree with JT. I do like the stories. There's some good. The Exorcist is one of my favorite movies.
It has to be something that really is different and pulls you in, and like is very intriguing for me right off the bat. Like if it's just like your run of the mill type of possession flick or something like that, then most of the time it's all right, whatever. It's got to be something memorable for sure.
I see people talk about it a lot, and I think supernatural horror has a pretty good. Well, I don't know. I mean, everybody talks about slasher movies all the time. It's just like, I don't know, slashers it has its place, but there's just something to be said about supernatural horror. So much so that a lot of people have taken their franchise characters and gone supernatural with them. Like, you know,
Absolutely.
we've done what we can here in the regular world, but we have nowhere to go.
Basically,
except for-
every slasher ever, every major slasher franchise
Slasher.
ever has done
That's
that.
going to the supernatural route.
Yeah.
I know.
Freddy, I mean, Chucky's
But
always
Freddy is actually supernatural to begin
Yeah.
with, so
Yeah.
you know
Well,
that's
that's
good, but
true.
then,
Yeah.
in
and
the
then
the movies that you see, I mean, he was a
Oh.
child murderer
You
before
know,
that.
Chucky got
He
started
did
with voodoo.
Yeah, he was
Um,
a
Yep.
guy.
Yep.
you know, Michael. They tried to do supernatural with the Thorn Court trilogy, which I
Yeah.
hated.
Right,
not
right,
many people
right.
like that stuff. I like
Yeah.
Halloween 6, actually. I really like 6,
Oh,
besides
oh.
all that stupid shit with the thorn. But he's brutal in that movie. That's one thing I like about 6. But you have to watch the producer's cut, and like,
Yeah, I
if
know.
I
Yeah, I
could-
heard about
if I
that.
can mix them together in like 2/3 the producer's cut and a third of the theatrical cut, that would be the best Halloween 6. But it is a very divisive movie. But I think he's
Mhm.
brutal in that movie.
Now, what religious movies, supernatural horror, have you guys watched? That actually has actually disturbed you. I mean,
Ooh, I would say
like
like
you
The
would.
Exorcist of Emily Rose
Yeah.
is one. So The Exorcism
yeah, I
of
love
Emily
that one.
Rose.
That's
That's a
good.
good movie.
I would say
Stigmata. I actually enjoy
Oh,
Stigmata.
Stigmata is great. Love that.
Oh, Stigmata.
That's a
Uh,
good
I'm
movie. I
trying to
haven't
think.
Okay,
seen
okay.
that.
Let's time out on the Stigmata for a second. Okay, because this goes back. Monty already knows where I'm going with this. So let's take a look. Let's take a look at Stigmata. That was a very good movie.
Mhm.
Rosanna Arquette and Gabriel Byrne, right?
Mhm.
Gabriel
Yes.
Byrne is a terrific actor. That guy can do anything. He can. But I tell you one thing he couldn't do. He fucking couldn't resurrect his character in Hereditary, who just stood around and did nothing.
You gotta think about it though. Think about the
You
roles
really
though.
went out that way. To
I
come
know,
back
Jesse.
at
You gotta think
Hereditary.
about where
Well,
he went to play.
I knew about. I can hear. I
Man,
can
you
hear
don't
Monty.
like that movie.
I know,
I can hear-
Patrick. You know, Patrick
Wow.
don't like Hereditary.
I know. Patrick does not like Hereditary.
Yes, correct.
I knew. I knew. As I
Yeah.
said, wait a minute. I want to talk about Gabriel Byrne. I can hear Monty going like, "Oh, here it comes."
Yeah.
But it's true though. But Stigmata is
It's a great
it's
movie. Yeah.
genuinely really underrated.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
a
it's
really
good.
that's a really interesting movie.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah, those two are the
Yeah.
ones that stand
I
out
had
to me.
to-
That was
I had
quite
to
disturbing.
I had to search the one because it's not Consecration, but it came out around the same time. The one Kira. I don't think you watched it, but Immaculate. I like that one.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
and then I did
that's the one with Sydney Sweeney, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
That one.
trying to find that.
I did
that,
enjoy
that,
that.
yeah, that and because when the first Omen came out and
Oh.
everyone did not understand why we do another Omen film. We don't need to do a prequel to the Omen, and everyone loved that film. I mean,
I did
Tiger,
like that very much.
yeah,
I really liked it. I
I
really
can't
liked
stand prequels.
it. It had issues. I had issues with it, but I did really like it.
Yeah, if I don't like prequels at all. So if I like that, like if I liked a prequel like that as a prequel, I enjoyed it. Mika knows I can't stand prequels. I usually don't like sequels. So
Yeah,
that was actually well done in my opinion. I liked it. It says something.
Yeah.
I like the
because
ties.
Tiger Free Lily, she did a fantastic job.
Yeah,
You know,
I
which
agree.
is not surprising because if you actually watch the Apple Plus TV show Servant, you know that she
That was
was a good
good.
job in that,
Yeah.
and she did a
Yeah.
fantastic job in this one because
Mhm.
that and Malignant and not
Oh,
Malignant.
Malignant.
That's the
Not
wrong
Never
one.
Malignant.
liked Malignant.
Oh, I like it. It's fun.
I never cared for that one.
I like that one.
It's not a great movie. I think it's
That
fun.
was fun. I think it's fun.
You just
Oh,
want
but
something.
Monty, I'm gonna watch that show. We had that on our watch list. Serpent. I heard good things about that.
Yes,
Which
Servant,
one?
yeah, there's an
Servant.
Apple Plus TV
Servant.
show that Tiger Free Willy was in it called Servant.
Okay, so
Huh,
I'm gonna
okay.
watch
Actually,
it.
Yeah,
you
I've heard
can
of
see
that.
you got to see Ron from Harry Potter actually talking in an American
yeah.
accent.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Okay.
watch that.
And he is actually pretty good in that one too. Yes, he's good in that.
He's actually pretty good. I saw him do one. I think it was called Hit List that he did with Bill Nighy and Emily
I
Blunt.
haven't
That
seen
was
that
really
either.
good.
Mhm.
That was really good too.
Yeah,
So
totally.
what about you, Monty, and you, JT? What supernatural horror movies have raised the fur on the back of your neck?
Not really.
I mean,
come on, that was
not really any that I can think of.
not really. I mean, come on, that was like.
I mean, not
11
a lot scares me. Like,
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I mean, come
But
on.
also-
I saw The Exorcist when I was 11 or 12 years old. So
Yeah, I saw that when I was
yeah, I mean,
young.
yeah, around then as well, because I saw Halloween at 6. That was my first horror movie, and then the Friday series. Then from there, just
Which Halloween did you
erased.
see? The first one?
The
Did you see
original.
the first
The
one?
original.
S
Yeah,
six.
the original. Yeah, the original.
The original. Okay. Nope. Yeah.
Mhm.
And-
Oh, I like House
But
of the
there
Devil.
House of Devil's a great movie.
Yeah, I love
I'm
that
a
movie.
That's
huge
good.
Ty West fan. I
Yeah,
love
that just
Ty
came
West.
to me. Yeah, my
That was
House
really
of the Devil.
good. Yeah, I like that one.
The
Man,
Innkeepers,
I know people
another
talk about House of the
underrated one.
Devil. I know people
The
always talk about House of the
Great.
Devil with that, but I think the better movie was The Innkeepers.
Yeah,
Oh, I love the
Innkeepers.
I love the
Patrick.
Innkeepers.
Patrick, me and Kira always
On an
shout.
island on our own.
We on the island
That's
on our
such a
own.
great
We
movie.
love the Innkeepers. So I think we
Me
can
too.
add Patrick to our list. It's me, Tim, Patrick, and JT. You said you like it?
Oh yeah. I did a video.
Okay,
on
good.
that a long
I have not
You know-
seen The Innkeepers yet.
I love the
Oh,
Innkeepers.
Monty, you gotta watch it because me and Kira, when we every time we say we like that movie, people like
Sarah
Oh,
Sarah
that's a good
Paxton was
movie.
adorable in that. Is that Sarah
Yes.
Paxton?
Yep.
Right?
Man, that ending is so unexpected. It was
I
just
love
like
it.
yeah.
I think it's so
It's just
good.
it's a cozy feeling haunted house. For lack
Yes.
of
it's a
better
sad,
movie.
it's a sad
Like that's
ending.
what, yeah.
I thought it was
but
sad.
I think it didn't catch
is
on with
sad.
as many because it's not as extravagant. It's not like
Yeah,
a full on ghost story. You don't really
Yeah.
see anything. Like it's
Yeah.
more of just like a psychological little
Yeah.
haunting story.
yeah.
And
You
it
know
doesn't
what
have
film that I do want to
ending is not a
mention?
big
I one film I do want to mention. That again the first one is my favorite, The Conjuring. Like that actually was a film that I thoroughly enjoyed, still enjoy.
I
The
like the
very
first
first Conjuring film.
I love
thought
the
that was
second
well
one.
done.
I like
Oh,
the
the
second
second one
one
was
more.
good.
Yeah, I
just
like the
love that
second one
first.
too,
First was
JP.
great.
I like
Oh,
that
yeah.
one better, but I like the first
Yeah.
two, both of them.
Mhm.
Yeah, the first two. I really like the second
I
one.
didn't.
That
I don't
was-
like. Yeah, the second's my favorite. I don't like the devil.
Yeah,
Made
so
Me
the
Do It.
second one of the main Conjuring series is
Mhm.
my favorite one. The third
Mhm.
one,
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
whatever. That one.
I mean, Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga, they
Yeah.
saved
Yeah,
the
they're
picture.
great.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's so great.
They're
Yeah.
always
They,
great. I
they
love
saved
them
that picture.
Mhm.
Oh, and fun fact,
They really
Vera
do.
Farmiga, if you actually, she did an interview about like ever since she started those films, there have been these supernatural things that she's experienced. Like she's been
Mhm.
very vocal about that. So I thought that was quite creepy in
Mhm.
terms of like taking on that role and her realistic encounters. So it says something about that supernatural.
Yeah, if you're open to it, or if you're open to, like I said, it's totally subjective, right?
Yeah,
You know, when you meant to tell people about, when you talk to people about, about possession and witchcraft and all the other stuff, there's half the people go like, yeah, okay, whatever, and then there's the other half. There's maybe like another 25% that like, I don't know. I don't know which way to go. And then you got the minority are sitting there going like, oh yeah, I believe that stuff. I'm open to it. Yeah.
Mhm.
Dude, I'm into
so,
aliens
I
100%.
think-
So much
Oh,
so
yeah.
I've been wishing for decades or so. Like, come pick me up on a spaceship. Take me the
Well,
fuck
you
out
need
of
one.
here.
You know what you
Never
need to
comes.
do.
Aliens never show up. My night's never great.
What you need to do, JT, you need to fly up to Devil's Tower in Wyoming, and let them know you're there.
Let 'em know.
Take me.
There are aliens that's
Like on
supposed to be
Independence
factual.
Day, when they're screaming
Uh-oh.
out Independence Day on the building before the laser beam comes, annihilates their ass and the rest of whole Manhattan.
Look,
I
so
just
if you don't
rewatched
hear
that like a week
if
ago.
you don't hear from JT after tonight, we know they got him.
That's right. That would be
Yeah,
one of the
yeah.
few reasons I would disappear.
I guess they
Alien
needed someone new to probe. So it's like JT.
Oh, it reminds me of the
Hey,
fourth
if it
kind.
gets
Was
me
that
on
the
an
movie?
alien spaceship, who
Is
knows?
that the movie, The Fourth Kind, with that they get abducted?
Yeah, the fourth kind.
Yeah, the fourth
Yeah, the
kind.
fourth kind with
Close
Mila
Encounters.
Jovovich.
Yes.
Oh, that one. Yeah. That's
There's another. There's a film called from ISC Midnight called Extraterrestrial. That one is
yeah.
disturbing as hell
I don't
too.
know if I've seen that.
I'll have to note that. I haven't seen
That's
that.
a good one.
No one will save you. Was that the one that came out?
Oh, I
last
like
year?
that
Oh,
one.
yes, I
That
like
was
that
a great
one.
Mhm.
That was
I
a
really
great movie. I did enjoy that one.
Especially for no talking except for
Oh,
like those
exactly,
5
yeah.
words throughout the
Yeah.
movie. That was a
Why
very
did you
good
watch
one.
that? That was actually really good, JT. I enjoyed that one.
Yeah, that was a good
Um,
one.
Real quick, as our time is getting close here, but I want to go through everybody one last time. I want you to go ahead and give us your thoughts about the Devil's the Blackcoat's daughter, and then hype up your channel a little bit. And we'll go ahead and start with the Wonder Twins.
Oh, jinx.
Oh, well, I'll say I really enjoyed this film. This is one we have watched a couple times, and that speaks to how well it's done. And it was great to rewatch it again recently for the stream. But I just think it's brilliantly done. The acting is great. I love the storyline. I love that the ending is quite bleak. I kind of like that. And I love films that are open to interpretation. I love to always kind of figure out what's going on and make my own guesses. So I love it. Kira, what do you?
Oh yeah, so I'll echo exactly what you said. I'll just add that again, this is everything that I look for in terms of like evoking emotion. I'm feeling all of the feels while watching this movie: the sadness, the despair, the bleakness, the grief, the isolation. I love a good psychological horror, and it checks all of those boxes. And the acting was superb. So yeah, that's all I can say. And then in terms of are we saying, Patrick, the just a quick note here about our site, or no? We're waiting.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead and pop it over.
Mika, I'm going to throw it back to you because you always
what's going on over there.
Oh, okay.
Throw it back to Mika.
Okay, so we're Double Feature Podcast. We are working now. We've been doing better because we kind of fade away, but we've been consistent. So we've been doing a stream every week. We do a double feature where we pick a theme and we pair two films that for a double feature and kind of compare those. So, and we're also going to be working on an actor spotlight series soon. So you can find us right now on Fridays. We're Libras, so we keep switching the dates of the stream. But right now it's going to be Friday. So you can catch us on YouTube and our
7 p.m.
Instagram.
Eastern time.
Yes, 7 p.m. Eastern time. And our Instagram is at Double Feet Podcast.
JT, what's happening with the Nat?
I don't know, man. You know how it is. It's never a plan or anything. It's just whatever.
I just do my own thing.
That's what happens when you have like a week-long lifespan.
Yeah, that's exactly too. I'm the Nat. It has to stick to theme. But no, basically, I know I got to get back to the Feast movies. I did deep dives on Feast and Poltergeist like a month ago. And then I got busy with other stuff, so I got to go back and do a deep dive on Feast 2, Feast 3, and Poltergeist 3.
Oh, awesome.
Very nice.
So those are coming up. Interviews I'm waiting to hear back from. And just the normal random movies whenever I feel like dropping videos on. Basically, there's no schedule.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I love it.
And what are your thoughts on JT on the film?
Oh, yeah. When I think of this, I mean,
you
can go back and watch the last hour and a half of this. But no, I think it's, like I said early on, I think it's his best film, Perkins' best film to date so far, with Long Legs close behind it. But the acting is superb in this. The story's great in this. It's so simplistic too, but so dense and layered at the same time. That's the one thing that I think really sticks out upon watching this for like I said, the fourth, fifth time now. It's just how dense it is for how simplistic it is. It's a very simplistic story. Girl goes to boarding school. Her parents die. She gets possessed. Shit happens. She comes back. That's it. Like, it's a very bare bone story, but there's so much that's going on just in the emotional perspectives and the heads of the characters and just the atmosphere. That just really makes this movie an excellent film all around. So, yeah, I love this movie. Been meaning to do a video on it for years now.
Now you've done it.
Now I got my thoughts out there on it.
What about you, Monty? I know you got some. I know you got something. Maybe this time you'll tell us how to get out of the horror corner. I'm still looking.
Yeah. So
I always get stuck every time I go over there when you hold your stream. I always get lost in that damn corner.
You gotta tell Patrick to come on. You gotta tell Patrick to get you out that corner.
Man, I think he does it on purpose. That corner is so. I get lost in that corner so bad. Not even the cheetah can get my ass out of that one.
Oh no!
Make
But,
it clear,
yeah.
when you get a chance, join us on the Horror Hangout live stream. You'll understand what Patrick is saying.
Oh yeah, anytime,
Yeah.
Monty.
Anytime, Monty.
Yeah,
So,
what are you guys gonna? Are you gonna have them come on soon?
yeah, I'm gonna see if we get them on next month.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
we'll
down
love
for
it.
that.
Yeah,
Yep.
we'll love it.
That'd be great.
Yeah. When it comes to Blackcoat started, yeah, I think this is Osgood Perkin, and I think his best film. Being as his first film, really enjoyed the premise, the structure of the film, how you get the acting and how deep layered the dark and really images that we see from Osgood Perkin in his first film, and it plays on his other films as well. But the story is fantastic, very good acting from all the performers. Really did enjoy this film.
Mhm.
Now, obviously, on my channel, you will see reviews of The Ritual. Just put up my review of I Know What You Did Last Summer, 2025.
Okay.
Coming up this week, I have doing a recording with I think her name is. I always get her. I know it's Hyde. I think it's Harmony Hyde. I'm doing a recording for her for Women in Horror, and then later on this week I'll have my good friend Lizzie from Carnage Canyon will be doing another recording for Women in Horror.
Cool.
Nice,
Really cool.
nice.
Really cool.
Women in Horror is all year round. They always try to put March or February as Women in Horror Month, but I think Women in Horror is all year round.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I changed it to why I just do it. At least try to do it monthly or bi-monthly.
Love it.
That's how I met these two wonderful ladies.
Oh
over
yeah,
here.
we had a great time. Yeah, Monty. Thank you. Yeah, and we connected through, and Petra, we love her, Shasha. She's just so awesome.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, Lady Sasha's the best. She's
Yep.
really
Yes.
she's cool. It's almost time that we're gonna get her on. I'm
Oh,
bringing
yes,
her
do,
back on.
yes.
I'm gonna have her come back on. I'm gonna have her come back. I'm gonna have her come and hang out with us during the ISC show.
There you go.
And that's my cue to talk about next week. So next week we double header Sunday for me at 6 p.m. I'll be interviewing actor Jeff Kirkendall and kicking off Mark Polonia Film Week in lieu of Grossfest. Grossfest is a convention in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It's running for 2 days. Has a lot of favorite indie stars. A lot of them have appeared on our channels, including Mark Polonia, Jeff, Steve Brzezinski, among many others. And that'll be at 6 p.m. I'll be talking with Jeff, and then at 8 o'clock for the IFC midnight show, because that's the one you want to come to. We'll be talking about the Clovehead.
Oh yes, I love that movie.
Nice. Very fun.
And we will be joined by Ken Sledge from Sledgehammer Horror.
Ooh, Ken.
Yeah. He's so
he's gonna
awesome.
come on
And
out
and
hang
Ashley
out.
are great people.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Him and
I
Ashley,
hope
they're
that I hope that she's able to make it, but her schedule with her work
Yeah.
schedule, you never
Yeah.
so I just go with Ken, and he
they were
was very
awesome.
excited to come on, and I was really happy to see that because
Yes.
we have 3 nights now. We lost the 4th, and I thought, well, what do we just bring on like an extra guest host from now on? So
There you
whoever's hosting that night that month has the option of bringing a guest on. So I asked him to come on.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah, well,
don't worry, Monty. Your turn's coming. You're coming into the IC country. You can't be sitting up there.
Yeah,
You can't be sitting out there in
awesome.
24.
Yeah.
You can't be out there. But as far as A24, as far as this film goes, absolutely loved it. Definitely would recommend it. And I had a good time with this. And thank you all for coming up and hanging out with me and JT.
Great time hanging out with all you guys.
Yeah, JT. I know you just sent me the poster for the thumbnail today, but it's all right. I still love you. I was like,
it was on your desk by the time.
I was thinking, I said, there's the Nat. He's killing me. But I knew you were really busy. So
I was
I
upstate
don't have anything
last
really
week
going on in August so far.
July is always the busy month for me.
Yeah.
Usually August it starts like settling back down through the winter.
We'll try to come up with something. Maybe I'll reach out. I don't have Instagram. I got victimized by
I know.
Yeah,
We got on Facebook. You just hit me up.
If anybody has any ideas or wants to help me establish a channel again, I would whatever it takes. I know I was not the only one. There's tens of thousands of other people who lost their accounts for nothing.
I know, that's sad. Yeah,
and
That is sad.
I'm one of them.
someone tried to hack my Netflix account.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, that is so
They'll
sad.
hack
These
anything.
people.
You know,
Yeah, they
I
It's
think,
really
I think that's
rough.
what happened to my account. I think my account got hacked,
Mhm.
because it was funny because they said, well, your account has been, it got suspended. Okay, I understand that. So by the time I went back there, and I was like, okay, this is they want you to do facial recognition. So I said, okay, here, this should help me. They said, well, no, we're
Yeah.
permanently disabled it because the community standards is still there. And I'm going like, I couldn't fix it even if I wanted to because you wouldn't let me in.
Because it's all
I don't.
AI
And
robots.
it wasn't even me.
There's not even
so-
human beings you can talk to. 99.
It's
No.
unreal. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
They love it that way too. It's all on purpose. It's all by design.
Yeah.
That way you
Yep.
can't get in touch with them. Same with YouTube. It has the
Oh yeah.
the chat in analytics that it gives you a little bit of an answer, but not really for anything important. That's
Just
it.
keep
No.
Besides that, you ain't talking to a human being or anything like that. And they
No.
all
Right.
all AI.
AI is getting
Oh my
worse.
God,
and
AI
worse and worse.
frightens me.
Does.
All right, boys and girls, we'll let you guys get out of
All
here
right,
enjoy the rest of your night. Thank you
All
again
right.
so much, JT. Man, we got to get together. I'll talk to you on Facebook.
Yeah, hit me up on
We're gonna come
Facebook.
up- We're gonna come up. Yeah, we're gonna come up with something new for August, man.
Yeah, and anytime Monty, we got to do something. And you girls, if you ever want to come on the channel,
All
sometime,
right,
watch
all right.
along or
Stay
something. then-
connected.
yeah,
Yep.
definitely.
all right.
That's right. That's right. JT will get you rolling with some Fulci or something like that.
Ah.
We'll watch some moose deal.
Crew Jaws.
There you go.
All right, y'all.
Hey Dominic, how are you? Glad you're
Hey,
here.
Dominic.
Glad you're here. We're wrapping it up, but you definitely check out the replay.
Oh yeah.
We
Replay.
covered
check out the replay.
Blackcoat Scholar.
That's it. We
uh,
talked a lot about
yeah.
it, so check that out. So it's not in
Yeah,
vain.
come back and check it out, and we'll see you guys on your channels.
All right, guys.
Peace.
Bye,
Thank you, everybody.
everybody.